Welcome to Music Theory 101, Session 1 with Errol and Dre. Okay, so I kind of already broke down where we're going to start from. So number one is you have to know what the person in front of you knows, and you also don't have to know what they know. I think that that's really important to say. So being that Dre has a background in creating music and creating lyrics and cadence and music like that, you also don't have the background in actual like music theory and notes, staff, measures, bars, bars, yeah.
Bars.
But all of like the pieces or the ingredients of the actual music that comes along with that. So we're going to start as if you know nothing about the language of music. And what I'm going to teach you is what music is as according to numbers, according to letters, according to tone, vibration, frequency, and the differences of all of those, right? And then we're going to build upon those foundations and get a little bit deeper as far as concepts, philosophy, and theory. So we're going to start with like the basics of the basics.
So what did you tell me? You said you're gonna give me the ingredients to make a meal before showing me how to cook the meal.
Correct. Right. So then eventually we're going to be able to actually write music together, right?
Nice.
Like that's the goal, is to understand how music works, how music looks, so that you could be given a piece of sheet music and say, I know what that song sounds like.
Song sang that I sung.
The song thing that I sung, I know what it sounds like by looking at it.
Right.
So I want you to visually learn what music is by symbol.
Gotcha.
Okay? So you're going to know what a dot on this paper sounds like by the end of it, right?
Okay.
You're going to know if it's sharp, if it's natural, if it's flat, if it's the style in which it would be played or sang.
Wow.
All by looking at a sheet of paper. Okay? So first of all, everything with music on paper lives in-house, right? The foundation of said house is the lines of music. This is called your staff, your where everything is written, okay? Now, at the beginning of every piece of music, there is a symbol. That symbol dictates which octave or level that the music is played on. Okay? Different instruments play on different octaves, right?
Correct.
So if you think about strings, for instance, you have a bass, you have a cello, you have a viola, you have a violin, right? So low, 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 high, 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 right?
Okay.
So your bass is boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, and then your cello, na 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 na. Your viola is a little bit higher, na 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 na, and then your violin, na 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 na, right?
Right.
And so those all play on, yes, staffs of music.
Amazing singer.
But the types or the symbols in front of them tell you what instruments can play that music. Okay, so for instance, I'm going to show you a document right now that this one. Let's just flip this around. See if you can see that on that side of things.
Yes, you can see it. You might want to zoom in.
Cool. Yep, we're good.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. So this first symbol at the top is called a treble. So these lines is called a staff, but when you put a symbol in front of it, it's called a clef, a musical clef, right? So this is a treble clef. Okay, so that symbol represents, when I see that, I know in my head what instruments can play all of the notes on this particular staff. Okay.
Okay.
So a violin, a flute, anything soprano, any
Okay.
instrument that is soprano or sings soprano, sings or plays from this particular treble staff.
Would
Treble clef.
saxophone then be there?
No.
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 Okay.
So next one down. So a viola and a violin both play here. Okay. I'm going to use strings because that's my background.
Okay.
Okay. This is a bass clef. Okay. And different instruments obviously play lower than, so this note and this note are the same. Okay.
Say it again.
This note right here and this note right here is the same. So this is the top, and it keeps going down, 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 down.
Okay.
Okay. So it's just like basically an extension. So if you were to say that your tenor starts here, it would go tenor, alto, bass, treble. Like this is the highest. So if you wanted to put these in line, right, it would go this one, then this one would start here, and then that one would start here, right? And it just goes up and up and up and up. So this is the highest, right? There's obviously notes above this that you can play on a violin that are not on this actual staff. But you can't get any lower than what the lowest note is on a particular instrument, right? You can only go so low.
Right.
And you can only go so high, right? Violin has the highest string, and you go all the way to the top.
Yeah.
And that's as high as it goes. That note would be way up here, but that would still be on this staff. Okay? So I want you to think about these as in one big long line, not necessarily stacked.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So the main sheet music is written on a treble with a treble clef on a treble staff. Okay? So when you look at the majority of music, it lives on these 5 lines.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, a lot of music doesn't include all of this. Okay. Percussion gets crazy. Okay. So that's why it's blank. Because it's percussion. It's not particular. It's rhythm. Right. Okay. So the majority of the music theory that we are going to learn is going to be on the treble clef. Okay. Which is the majority of the music that you would run into.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So, the thing that lives next on sheet music is going to be what they call a key signature and then a time signature. Okay, so I'm going to switch gears here, and I'm going to zoom in. All right. So now we're looking at. So this is your clef symbol, right? That's your treble clef.
Yes.
And then this is your key signature, time signature, and then that's where your music starts. Okay. So this is going to tell you, these 1, 2, 3 things are going to tell you so much information about the music in front of you. Okay. It's literally going to tell you how fast it's going. It's going to tell you what's sharp, what's flat, what's natural, and it's going to tell you what octave you're in.
Okay.
Okay? All by those 3 things at the very beginning of a piece of music. So regardless of what sheet of music you're looking at or what song you're looking at, it will always have these 3 things. Your clef symbol or your symbol in general, your key signature, and your time signature. So this is treble clef. It would tell you what your key signature is. Your key signature is going to tell you which notes that fall on these particular lines are going to be played sharp, which is a half step up or a semitone up. So we're going to explain to you how notes become natural, flat, and sharp. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Questions so far? Dre, the floor is yours.
No, but I'm glad this is being recorded, so I may go back and revisit this.
Okay. So, don't mind the cat scratches on my chest. I have claws. Alrighty then. So, the next thing that we're going to talk about is going to be the actual notes on your staff. This is crucial because before I can tell you what's flat and what's sharp, you're going to need to know what notes can be those different things. Not every single note can be flat and sharp. Okay. Well, and sound good. Let's just say that. So the first thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you this treble clef a little bit more zoomed in, and then I'm literally going to have you number one, draw a treble clef, and then I'm gonna have you write out the treble clef scale. Okay, and that includes, it starts with C. Well, we're gonna start it with C, and it's gonna go all the way up to A. Okay? So this is do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, right? So when people sing that, which everybody's fucking heard that song, it's literally singing you the treble clef. It's singing you what notes are possible within that clef. Okay, so I'm going to, I don't have any pencils, but we're going to need to get some.
Oh, man. We're going to bring you pencils.
So I'm going to pause this for one moment.
Yeah.
Resume. Okay, and we're back. So these are really small. So I just made some bigger makeshift ones for right now because we're going to practice drawing treble clefs. So I'm going to show you an example of drawing one first. And then we're going to go from there. So, boop, 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 boop. All right. So we're going to start at the bottom. I want you to notate that this starts below the 5th line and this ends above the 5th line.
Okay.
Okay. So it starts with a little dot like this. Okay. I think that you can see what I'm doing here. Why don't we turn that middle switch on here, please? And you know what? I've got this as well. Yeah, baby. Here we go. Okay, so it starts with this dot here, and that goes below that first line, okay? And then it literally curls around. You're gonna go, it's not straight up and down if you notice, and then it's gonna go up above that 5th line, down and around and over, big belly, and swirl just below the 2nd line, ending between the 2nd and 1st.
Looks easy enough.
Right? So that was with holding the paper up too. So I'm going to start with my line, my dot. I'm going to curve around. I'm going to go up at an angle. I'm going to swirl down and around, over, and swirl down and around. It's much better.
Nice.
Okay?
Nice.
So I'm going to have you do the same thing right here.
All right.
Come on over. So start with your dot, which is below the 5th line.
Uh-huh. Oh.
Try again.
Okay.
Move over. Try again.
All right.
I can't exactly see, so let me step on the other side of you.
Okay. Can I sit down?
Yeah.
Second. Okay. All right. So we get.
Up. Yep. Over. Yep. Stop. Curve down and around. Very good. Excellent. Excellent. My only suggestion here is this line is a little straight, right? So if you look here, it's a little bit curved to the left. It is not a straight up and down line.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
So when I draw my clef, it's coming down from around the left, going down over above that line.
Mm-hmm.
It's crossing down over the 2nd. Cross. Here. Its belly hits the floor. Okay.
Gotcha.
Crosses over this line
Mm-hmm.
to the 2nd and ends between the 1st and 2nd.
Okay.
Okay. There's an honor to drawing this. Yes. Up. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Oh.
Okay. Good. Excellent.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to practice those. Okay?
Okay.
Beautiful. So, you have now bestowed said honor of drawing the treble clef.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. That's exciting.
Woo-woo.
It really is. This is where it all starts.
I'm super excited just to be able to do that.
Right? So now, what I want to do is we're going to give ourselves 5 more lines here that are obvious. Drawing as straight as I possibly can. Okay. I'll draw the treble clef for us here. Okay. So we have our 5 lines again, treble clef at the front. All right. Okay. So I'm going to show you the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do within the treble staff. Okay. So the first one that we're going to start with is C. Now we know that there's 5 lines on this staff. However, C starts below this line. So often you'll see a note below the line. Sometimes that note below the line will have a line through it, signifying to you that that's just below the staff. Okay? Like if there was another line down here, that's basically what it's showing you. That's why it has the line in it.
Oh, gotcha.
So just like the C has that there and the A has that there.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay? So it's saying it's boop 1 lower than the D. Okay?
Okay.
So then this note right here, and they're always going to fill up the line. Okay? So like between the line, right? So this note is going to be that big. Right? Should really have this like that. Okay. So this is your C, and this is your D. So when they say middle C, okay?
Yeah.
D. The next one is going to be on the line. I'll let you take a wild guess on what that one is. C, D,
E.
E. It literally follows the alphabet. The one in between the first and second line is
F.
F. Okay? And then literally it follows. Okay? So I want you to finish that.
Okay.
So the next one is going to be on the actual second line.
Which is here.
Yes? Okay? So halfway through the circle is going to be where the line is.
Okay.
Right? So make its belt. Yep. Yep. Perfect. And that's E. Excuse me. G. I lied to you. G comes after F. Huh.
Oh.
Okay. Perfect. Keep going.
Again.
A. So it's A through G. And then it starts over again. Okay? So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Okay,
Right?
yeah.
C,
A
D,
goes
E,
on.
F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Right? So it's... Yep, so you want to fill up the line from between here and there.
Okay, the whole line in half.
Whole line.
Whole,
And then the
whole
next...
note.
So, I mentioned earlier something about half steps and whole steps. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. So after we finish this, I'm going to teach you. All of this is all whole steps. You're going to the next whole letter,
Right.
whole note up. Okay? I'm going to let you finish that. I'm going to pause it.
Oh, shit. F and G.
Correct. Excellent. All right, perfect. I'm just going to color these in. So, These are whole notes and whole steps. Okay? So, when you look at a piece of sheet music, sometimes you see the dots will be colored in, like so.
Yeah.
Or they will be left open, right? So sometimes you see like, you'll see like this, right?
Yeah.
Like those are eighth notes, right? And these will be colored in. And then sometimes you'll see just a note on there like that. Sometimes you'll see a note on here like this.
Yeah.
Okay? Sometimes you'll see a hat. And we're going to go over what these are. So whole notes, half notes, eighth notes, 16th notes, all of those. Thirds, right? Triplets, those are kind of things like that, right? Right? Versus, and then there's half. Then there's thirds. Then there's fourth. Right? And then it goes faster.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So those are the beat that gives you the beats or the rhythms, right? These whole or half notes, eighth notes, all of that. Okay. Now, when I talk about steps, I'm talking about the frequency between the notes. Okay.
Frequency between the notes.
Right. So when I go C to D, that's the next note up.
Okay.
Right? So that is a whole step up.
The frequency
right?
between.
I'm stepping up the notes,
Gotcha.
up the staff. Boop, 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 boop. Now, if I were to step up half between C and D, this would be C sharp.
C sharp would be the frequency between C and D.
Right. Okay? So that would be a half step. Between C and D lives C sharp.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay? Now, the half step can also be called D flat. Bear with me. Okay? So sharps and flats
Checks out.
live. They're stepbrothers. They're the same person,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Because
So C sharp and D flat are the same fucking note.
right.
Okay?
Because they meet
Right?
in the middle.
They live on the half step between C and D.
Checks out.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? So, right. So, the difference is you never say D flat. That doesn't exist. So, you learn which half steps actually exist and which ones don't.
Yeah.
Right? Which stepbrother, how do you call his name?
Yeah.
Right? So, we're going to go into, I'll just, yeah, that's fine. We're going to go into those. So, technically, this would be D sharp or E flat. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm the worst at making the flat symbol. 1 second. For the record, sharps look like a hashtag or a pound sign. Flats look like a B that's a little bit flat. Literally, it's called a flat. No, that's funny. And then naturals look like this. Okay? Sharps, flats, naturals. All right, so every step brother in the middle of all of your, so these are whole steps between C to D, D to E. Every step up the staff is a full step. Now, every full step has a half step or a half brother, right? Those half brothers have two names.
C sharp, D sharp.
Right. So as you move up the line, it continues, right? So is it D sharp or E flat? D sharp again. D sharp and E flat are the same thing, but you never say D sharp. That doesn't exist in music. Okay? So now it goes E sharp, F flat. F flat does not exist. E sharp exists.
So it's like odd and even numbers.
Basically.
Okay.
Correct, right? So you're seeing a pattern. You're going to start seeing patterns of things, okay? So now, F sharp, F, or G flat.
G flat, yeah.
G flat does not exist. Okay? G sharp, A flat. G sharp does not exist. Look. Okay? A sharp, B flat. A sharp does not exist. Okay? B sharp, C flat. B sharp does not exist. C sharp, very common. D flat
Does not exist.
does not exist. You see the pattern?
Yeah. It's a
Boom,
very
boom,
unique,
boom,
cool
boom,
pattern.
boom,
but
boom,
not
boom,
yeah.
boom. It repeats itself. Now, you want to think about it from A, though, right? Not just starting at C, because that's where your musical alphabet starts. Now,
It's from where?
A.
Right. Okay. You're correct. Okay.
D sharp or E flat. D sharp does not exist, right? We're starting this whole pattern over. E sharp, F flat. F flat's not a thing. F sharp, G flat. G flat's not a thing.
No.
So you're learning that this note that is the same thing, where these notes come together in the very middle, how do you use language to describe their name? I'm teaching you how to name a sound. The name of a sound has a proper term, right? So basically, if you said to me, oh yeah, D flat, I'm like, you mean C sharp? Right? You would never say that, ever, right? It's just like,
But then
what?
I wouldn't say D sharp. I'd say
E flat.
right.
Right. Okay? So now you see that this is how key signatures start to come into play.
That's pretty. That's pretty cool. Cool, man.
So now, when you are looking at, I pulled it up here. Let's see. This one, no. One moment. Now, to add upon what we started with our clef. Then we have a key signature and then a time signature, right? So clef, there's no key signature here, which is a key signature in itself, because that's a C.
Okay.
And then it has a time signature. So this is your treble clef.
Yeah.
There's no symbol here, right?
Right.
So that is actually
Right,
a key
right.
signature in itself. It's saying that
Gotcha.
everything is natural.
Okay.
There's no sharps, no flats
Heard.
in the C major key,
Okay.
which is also a minor key, but we'll talk about that in a second. The major key of C is written on a key signature that has no symbols. 4/4 is 4 beats per measure.
Okay.
Okay? So we're going to start with just key signatures, which is the symbol between the clef and the time signature. Okay? So we're not going to worry about what's major, what's minor right now. We're only going to worry about what a key signature signifies to you. Okay. So now, let's say we have a key signature that has that looks like this. So this would be the letter or the note. You skipped one here. Let's see. Okay. So this third space, 1, 2, 3 spaces up, that's a note, which is C. You see this?
Yes.
Okay. So this would be C sharp. So it's telling you in this piece of music, every single C that you see visually on this staff
It's gonna be
that
sharp.
is on here is going to always be sharp.
Okay.
Instead of putting a little sharp next to it, every single one.
Gotcha.
It just puts it at the beginning and says, know that this is your the key to the map, right? When you have like this color means that, it only shows it at the top corner, right? Blue equals this or whatever, right? And then on the rest of the thing, you know that blue equals that, right?
Right.
So when it shows you at the beginning of the music that this note on this particular staff is sharp, then you know that every single note that follows on that particular line is all going to be sharp.
So I was thinking, I could probably go to an
Okay.
Excel spreadsheet. Sorry, that's what I was thinking.
So it's also telling you that it's not just this C, but it's also this C. The high, the low, the middle C. They're all sharp. So every time you see a C on that page, it's going to be sharp unless it signifies to you differently.
Okay.
Now, same thing with this one, right? So this one is telling you what note is this? That's on the top line.
It's an E.
It's an E. Okay? So, that's telling you that E sharp, every E that you see, including this E, and this E that's going to be over here, is all going to be sharp. So every time you see a note on this top line, you know that it's going to be played sharp, which is a half step up.
So that's a key signature.
This is a key signature.
Oh, gotcha.
These are key signatures.
Okay.
Okay? Now, it can also show you flats. So we scroll down. You can see that it's going to show you what are going to be flats. So if I have a key signature that shows me, let's just do another, let's say I have a key signature that looks like this. Okay. This is going to tell me that this is a B flat. Every B, or excuse me, every B is going to be flat in this piece of music right here. Because your flat symbol is on the line that all of the B's are played on.
Gotcha.
Right? So now if I have a note on that line,
It's flat.
that B is going to be played flat, a half step flat.
Okay.
Now, I want to have you hear what it is that I'm saying.
Okay.
Okay? Okay. So this is a perfect example. It's going to show you a piece of music. It's the same piece of music. However, this looks complicated as fuck and it's hard to read, especially quickly if the song is fast. So that's why they just put that kind of map key at the beginning of the music, showing you that, hey, every single C, D, E, and F are going to be flat in this piece of music, instead of putting on every C, D, E, and F in the piece of music.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So I know when I look, as a musician, I look at a piece of music and I know, okay, C, D, E, F, boom, I have that ingrained in my head. So when I go through and play this, like on the violin, I know that when I go to play an E, I'm going to go a half step back every time. Okay.
Both pieces would actually sound the same because of the key signature. This indicates that all F's, C's, and G's are sharp, and this one says that all B's, E's, and A's are flat. It's important to note that this means all F's are sharp, not just this one, but this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one too. And it's pretty important to play the right key signature because it can really change the sound of a piece. There are 15 key signatures in total, corresponding with the 15 major scales. Learning them all is an important...
We're not going to go into that. But I wanted you to hear flat versus sharp, right? So, I really should get my violin out when I'm teaching this. It really helpful.
Sorry.
B flat, B natural, C natural, C sharp. Let's see if this.
Major scales. Everything you need to know so you don't fail music class in 7 minutes. A scale is a set of notes that are ordered by pitch. There are many types of scales, but the major scale is one of the most important and is a cornerstone of music theory in the Western classical music tradition. Understanding major scales is crucial to success in tackling theoretical concepts such as intervals, key signatures, triads, tetrads, pentads, hexads, heptads, also known as chords, solfege with movable do, solfege with fixed do, minor scales, bebop scales, pentatonic scales, cadences, chord progressions, the circle of fifths, the circle of fourths, and modes. All of these things and more are better understood through major scales, so let's get started. There are 15 major scales. Although they look very different at first glance, they're all built using the same few simple rules. Let's take a look at the easiest one, C major. Notice that the C major scale has 8 notes. It starts and ends on the same note, in this case C, and every other letter name shows up just once. A, B, C to start and end the scale, D, E, F, and G. These are the first 3 rules which every major scale must follow. Every major scale has 8 notes, the same starting and ending note, and has every other note named once. Let's look at another scale, D major. It too has 8 notes, starts and ends on the same note, and each other letter name shows up only once. E flat major is the same, 8 note.
Okay, I want you to hear it. That is what I'm trying to get to. So, sharps are half step up, flats are a half step down below a note. Right?
Right.
So if C sharp is a little bit above between C and D, right?
Correct.
So it's a half step up.
Correct.
So you wouldn't say C flat, you would say
C sharp.
okay, not exactly. So
I mean, I'm saying you would say C flat, you would say D sharp.
yes.
I mean, yeah.
Yes. So here we go. For instance, let's say, I'm gonna do another 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's our key signature. Okay. Let's say that we have, okay, so the symbol is always going to be exactly on the line. However, it's symbolic of playing the note that's in that space either a little bit higher or a little bit lower. Right?
Say that one more time.
The symbol, like in your key signature,
Yes.
your flats or your sharps,
Correct.
are always going to be exactly on the line or exactly in the middle of the space, just like how your notes would be.
Heard.
Right? Just like your note is going to be right there. Your note is going to be right here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yes? You're never going to put your note halfway on the line, halfway in the space, right? It's always going to be in the middle of the space or on the line,
Correct.
right?
That is correct.
So your symbols for those notes are always going to be right on exactly where the notes would land,
Correct.
right?
Okay.
Even though what they mean is you're going to play that note, this B that's on that line, a little half step between this note and that note. That's what it symbolizes to you. Lower it a little.
Okay.
A little bit flatter or a little bit sharper. It's like when you're tuning a guitar and you turn it and it's looser, it's flatter. When you turn it tighter, it's sharper.
Okay.
So, I want you to think about this. This is your guitar string. A. D. Whatever. G. Okay? This is in tune. This right here, right? You know when it gets perfectly. That would be flat. Half step down, right? Not quite the next note down. It's just a half step down. You understand?
Yeah.
Or that's in tune. That's a half step up.
Yes.
Not quite the next string up or the next next note up, but you're halfway in between that note and that note.
Yes.
You're halfway in between this note and this note,
Yes.
right? Not
Yes.
quite down, but that's how you stay in tune. So music is made to be in tune. If you play it out of tune, it sounds like shit,
Yeah.
right? So you want to play in tune this A, but this A can technically be flat or sharp, but it's called one or the other, right?
Yes.
Make sense? Starting
Yes.
to. So when you turn your little peg on your guitar and you pluck it,
I'm doing it sharp. Flat.
right? So you're tuning it into a natural position, is what we call. So this A, just the way it is, that's A natural. There's no such thing as A sharp, but just for the example, B sharp or B flat, which is A sharp, right? Same thing.
Right.
So
Yes.
That's B flat,
Mm-hmm.
right? Here's your A.
No such thing
That's
as
G
Oh,
sharp.
G sharp. Yeah, that's right. Because it
Okay.
starts over. G
Right.
to A, heard.
So your half steps are all short, or all sharps, or all flats.
Right.
Okay?
Gotcha.
All right. And that concludes Music Theory 101, Session 1,
Day 1.
Day 1.
Done, done, done.
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 One, son.
Oh, that's pretty crazy.